This episode has been advertised as being the mid-season finale to Power Rangers Dino Charge, which is actually pretty exciting. I mean, I would have expected the show to introduce the 6th Ranger before getting to this point, so I have no idea what will happen in this episode. Will the 6th Ranger be revealed? Will Peter make an appearance? Will Chase become an actual character? Will I stop talking in this ridiculous voice? Let's find out as we talk about Episode 8, Double Ranger, Double Danger. The episode opens in space, where Sledge is complimenting Poisandra before Fury says he has a plan to get the E-Tracer. Poisandra yells at Fury, saying she was the one who found out about the E-Tracer, but Fury says that was beginner's luck, so Sledge gives Poisandra an opportunity to get the Energems for him. Poisandra goes off with the Wretch to find a monster to take on the Rangers, and she finds Duplicon, who she says will cause the Rangers to fight each other, as Fury says that when Poisandra fails, Sledge will finally see how worthless she is. On Earth, the Rangers are using the E-Tracer to locate the Gold Energem in the Terrazord, as Tyler thinks about his dad while writing in his journal. Tyler says that he still wears his dad's bracelet before writing about each of the Rangers, saying that he thinks Shelby's cute, and that he knows Fury had something to do with his dad's disappearance, adding that nothing will keep him from finding his dad, especially not Fury. Coda then jumps down from a tree, saying that he smells something in the air, before Tyler gets a call about alien life forms in the area. Tyler tells the team to shut down the E-Tracer, and Shelby and Riley tell Tyler to pack up the device and start the Jeep, saying they're right behind him. Once Tyler packs up the E-Tracer, he gets in the driver's seat as the four morphed Rangers load the Jeep, and Tyler asks if they're morphing, but the Rangers don't respond and instead gesture for him to drive. As Tyler drives, he tells the others they can demorph since the E-Tracer is safe before his Jeep breaks down. Tyler checks under the hood, finding a cut wire, when he suddenly gets a call from Shelby asking why he ditched them, but Tyler says he's looking right at them before noticing some Vivics demorphing and grabbing the E-Tracer. Tyler is then confronted by Poisandra, Curio, and Duplicon, who tries to attack Tyler, eventually managing to blast him away and knock him out. The villains leave triumphantly with the E-Tracer as the other Rangers head back to the lab, with Coda asking if Miss Morgan and Keeper have found Tyler, but they say he isn't responding to their calls. Riley looks for alien life forms in the city, and Shelby says that Tyler thought he was with them, concluding that someone must have been fooling him. Riley finds aliens near the city complex, so Coda asks if that's where they should go next, and Shelby suggests that they split up so she can find Tyler. Riley says he'll go with Shelby, but before the two leave, Keeper stops them, saying that he and Miss Morgan will continue to look for Tyler, since the other Rangers need to stick together and make sure that they find the E-Tracer before Sledge uses it to find the Gold Energem. The Rangers agree and head toward the city as Tyler wakes up and activates his Dino Cycle to chase after Poisandra. The other Rangers in the meantime are looking for the E-Tracer in the city as Fury and Duplicon watch from above, with Fury saying that they'll wait for the Red Ranger to show up so they can attack, but Duplicon says that Poisandra wants them to attack now, so he makes some clone Rangers to do so. Fury gets angry that Poisandra succeeded in stealing the E-Tracer, saying that he needs his own price to show to Sledge before he decides to go after Tyler. Cut to the other Rangers discussing their progress in the city when the clone Rangers and a squad of Vivics attack.
You guys should take some acting classes, cause you're not fooling me. Oh, sorry, Shelby. Hey! You may look like us, but you're not as smart.
Chase? How did you know who was who?
Ha! I slipped these into your belts.
You're so clever!
Yeah, great thinking, Chase. I can't believe that you came up with a plan to tell the original Rangers from the clone Rangers, which you just found out about. And we didn't even see you collect the flowers. Wait, how'd you do that again? The Rangers are able to take the clones out as Tyler continues heading toward the city, getting the coordinates from Miss Morgan before Fury starts blasting him. Tyler dodges a few blasts, but is soon knocked off the Dino Cycle, causing him to demorph. Fury charges Tyler, and the two begin fighting as the other Rangers are confronted by Duplicon, who tries to blast them, but it is blocked by Coda. Back with Tyler, he continues fighting Fury, eventually losing his bracelet, which Fury recognizes. Fury then insults Tyler, saying he's just as weak as his father, which angers Tyler enough to knock Fury back and kick away his sword. Tyler asks Fury what happened to his dad, but Fury refuses to tell him before we cut back to the other Rangers who are still fighting Duplicon. The group is able to knock Duplicon back, so he summons some Vivics to make more Ranger clones, but before he can, the Rangers blast him. The team determines that they need to use the Dino Spike to finish off Duplicon, but that they need Tyler in order to activate it. Speaking of, Tyler is attacking Fury with his Dino Saber, eventually managing to knock the monster down and ask about his father. Before Fury can answer him, however, Chase calls Tyler on his Dinocom, which is enough of a distraction for Fury to knock Tyler back and go in for the kill. However, as Fury tries to strike Tyler, he suddenly collapses in pain as something something tries to break out of his chest. Fury says that he's in control and manages to stop whatever's happening to him, and Tyler wants to continue questioning Fury but decides to go help the others when he gets another call from Chase. Tyler morphs and activates Dino Steel before meeting the others and activating the Dino Spike, which he uses to take out Duplicon. The Rangers then find Poisandra with the E-Tracer and go to take it from her, but Sledge causes Duplicon to grow in an effort to protect her. Duplicon summons a Vivazord, which he turns into a giant Fury, before the T-Rex Zord arrives and the Rangers form the Tricycle formation of the Dino Charge Megazord.
They're attacking from both sides! Go ahead, Kendall.
Activate Dino Charger number 17. It will release the toxic gases of the dinos.
Did she just say what I think she said?
Toxic gases? You mean fart gas?
You could call it that.
Man, you think of everything! Hey, let's try it! Dino Gas Charger, ready! It stings my eyes! That's one nasty move.
Seriously? Shelby calls on the Ankylozord, and the Rangers form the triangular formation of the Dino Charge Megazord, which they use to take out the Vivazord and send Duplicon flying to his doom. Meanwhile, Wretch is able to activate the E-Tracer, so Poisandra goes to find the Terrazord, but before she can, Fury blasts the group and takes the E-Tracer so he can get the glory of finding the Zord. The Rangers see Fury getting away with the E-Tracer and decide that the only option they have left is to destroy the E-Tracer, so Tyler tells Chase to blast it, which he does, breaking the machine. However, Fury finds the Terra Charger among the remains of the E-Tracer and leaves triumphantly, saying he can now use the Charger to power the Terrazord. The Rangers go back to the lab, where Shelby is sad that Fury may have the location of the Terrazord, as well as the Terra Charger, but Miss Morgan says that even if Fury found the Terrazord, the Charger doesn't have enough power to activate it, and the villains have no way of charging the Charger. Keeper says that while the E-Tracer was destroyed, the Rangers worked as a team, which Chase adds makes them united when the villains are divided, before Shelby tells Tyler that she found his dad's bracelet. Shelby puts the bracelet on Tyler before he tells the others what happened to Fury during their fight, and the episode ends with Coda saying that whatever it is, they will be able to take it on together. For this being the mid-season finale of the show, I actually found it slightly underwhelming. I'm not saying that this episode is bad, it just feels like any other episode, and it's not really worthy of being advertised as the mid-season finale. Still, there are a lot of things in this episode that I really like. For example, I love all the stuff that's done with Tyler and Fury, who are both dealing with their own issues, as well as confronting each other for the first time. Fury continues his feud with Poisandra, this time wanting her to fail so Sledge will get rid of her, but as she starts to succeed in her plans, Poisandra unknowingly forces Fury to go after Tyler and steal the E-Tracer so he can prove his worthiness to Sledge. I love how Fury goes after Tyler only because he sees him as a trophy and not because he's his father's son. I mean, both Megaforce and Samurai were very fixated on the importance of having the Red Ranger duel a general, so it's actually refreshing that in this show, Fury doesn't fight Tyler because he feels he must defeat the Red Ranger, but rather because Tyler was the only one of the Rangers who was by himself at the time. It also makes sense that Tyler would get as emotional as he does during his fight with Fury, given that Fury may or may not have killed his father, and I understand how he could be so focused on revenge that he would pretty much forget about the other Rangers. Ultimately, the show has done such a good job with developing both Fury and Tyler that it was a real treat to see them have their first duel. As a side note, I'm a bit on the fence about the show wanting to give Shelby and Tyler a romantic relationship. I'm not saying that it doesn't make any sense, all I'm saying is that the show needs to develop it a little bit more before I'm on board with them being together. Unfortunately, the greatness of the Tyler and Fury scenes is kind of overshadowed by the two major problems that I had with this episode. I've already talked about the plot hole of Chase being able to tell the real Rangers from the clones, which honestly I would have been fine with, since the flowers probably played a larger role in the Sentai, and they weren't able to fit it into the story properly because of all the Tyler and Fury scenes. But then I got to the Megazord fight, which infuriated me for a number of reasons. Not only do I think that fart jokes just plain don't belong in Power Rangers, and not only does this scene remind me of the atrocity that is Last Laugh, but it also undercuts the dramatic tension of the entire episode. Here we had a story about Tyler finally getting a chance to confront Fury and ask about his father, who may or may not be dead, as well as Tyler caring more about revenge than the other Rangers, and it was all completely ruined by arguably the stupidest Power Rangers weapon I have ever seen, and hopefully I will never see it again. Luckily though, the episode was able to redeem itself after that moment by having Fury get his hands on the Terra Charger, and also promising to explain what happened to Fury during his fight with Tyler. Overall, this is an okay episode. Tyler and Fury's confrontation is really the highlight here, and for the most part the episode focuses on it pretty well. But I have to take some points off for the fart joke during the Megazord fight because of how much it diminishes all the good the episode tries to do. Still, the development with Tyler and Fury is so well done in this episode that I have no choice but to recommend it. Just make sure that you leave the room when the Megazord battle starts, and you should be in for a fun ride. I'm Nick, aka Iron Man 1993, and may the power protect you.